around the world,
We're pretty much the first people in this event.
people are finding strange and intricate patterns flattened in farm fields.
My reaction to it was surprised as to what it was.
There was something deeply strange happening here.
These formations are called crop circles.
It gives the impression that a giant hand literally came down and produced the whole effect.
What the heck made this?
Crop circles are being made by people.
It's not black and white, and that's what frustrates people, is they can't pigeonhole this phenomenon. There's still mystery.
The area of St. Albert, there is a lot of agricultural land still around that is farmed, so it keeps us busy.
Terry DeLava works for a fertilizer company.
That day, basically, it was nice and sunny, probably about 15, 20 degrees, calm winds. Kind of came upon an area that had some of the crop lodged down. It was kind of abnormal, kind of a little bit maybe bigger than normal. My reaction to it was surprised, surprised and curious as to what it was. And just kind of looked at the area where the crop was knocked down. And, you could see, definite edges and shapes in the crop. And it was like, holy cow, it's a crop circle. It's something I don't think I'll ever forget.
I get a call from the company. He told me he was finished and that we had, as he said, a circle. I said, yeah, I know those darn animals. I said, they're always laying down and flattening the crops. He said, well, it's going to have to be an awful big animal to make this circle. Oh, I was even a little nervous about walking inside of it. This is where it all started. It was right here. I couldn't believe my eyes. You're just speechless. I never seen anything like it in my life. I never expected to. There was the large circle, and then there were two that they called satellite circles, one on either side. And then on the end, each end, there were two more circles, smaller ones, and they were joined to the body.
The formation was 58 meters long and 18 meters wide.
Never in a million years did I ever think that we would have a crop circle in the middle of our field. Those things happen to other people, but here we are. We have a crop circle. We were looking around the field for clues as to what made this. There weren't any. The only thing we could see were the tracks made by the sprayer. We just wanted some answers. How did this get here?
Of the over 100 reported sightings each year around the world, a vast majority appear in a small area of the UK. which is where Stonehenge is located, is the center of the crop circle universe.
Oh, Jesus, that's wonderful.
Thousands of crop circles have appeared in Wiltshire over the past 30 years. They pop up randomly, usually in fields of wheat and barley.
Literally, this is the place where the whole crop circle phenomenon started. In any given year, there'll be 60 to 70 crop circles across southern England within a 10 to 15 mile radius of our current location. For the past 17 years, it has been effectively my mission to try and find out what exactly was happening here with the crop circles phenomenon. You know, was it real, is it fake? To me, a crop circle is a genuine, tangible mystery in the agricultural landscape. So we found this formation was just reported literally 2 hours ago. We're pretty much the first people in this event. This is a young green barley crop. This is a fairly impressive looking event at a rough glance, but we really need to have a closer look.
Charles Mallet first stepped inside a crop circle in 1997, and he's been hooked ever since.
I have visited, up until 2012, approximately 600 crop circles investigated on the ground. The crop circles are typically appearing overnight, ranging from tiny little events right up to hundreds and hundreds, or even up to past 1,000 feet. It gives the impression that a giant hand literally came down and produced the whole effect. I know to my own satisfaction that there is something deeply strange happening here. Of course, everybody wants to know what makes crop circles because they're generally publicized out into the world as a mystery.
A mystery that only deepens when viewed from above. One of the wildest speculations: crop circles are coded messages made by alien intelligence.
These markers are placed into the fields and that they encode specific types of information. There is a communication going on, but it's happening deep within our consciousness. That's the theory.
But the only verified creators of crop circles are humans, using planks of wood and rope to make these designs. In 1991, two British men, Doug Bower and Dave Chorley, admitted they made crop circles all over England and explained why they did it.
We wanted to make the UFO societies think that a UFO had landed, you see.
As soon as Doug and Dave hit the headlines, the subject dropped like a rock in public interest.
Soon, there were even more copycat circle makers.
Even probably half to two-thirds of the researchers just pulled out and went away and went home and done something else. They had finally got their answer. That was good enough for them.
Crop circles are being made by people, and that's it, period.
Joe Nickell claims to be the world's only full-time professional mystery detective.
I've been called the modern Sherlock Holmes, and I have investigated everything from homicides to historical and literary mysteries.
Nickell first delved into the crop circle mystery in the early 1990s.
When you add up all the evidence, you see that the increase in number based on media reports, the increase in complexity, the geographic distribution, peculiarity to southern England are just what you would expect for a hoaxed phenomenon.
Yes, there's hoaxed man-made crop circles. They've been made for TV, for commercials, for various reasons and for various interests. To me, 90% of the crop circles are fake, and therefore 90% of the crop circle's subject is a circus.
But Mallet also believes a small percentage of crop circles are not man-made and worthy of more research.
There's another component here which I have been unable as yet to understand, and until I get the answers to my own personal satisfaction, I'll probably keep on searching.
When the crop circle appeared in Theli Whitman's field, she wanted to know whether it was real or a hoax.
What the heck made this? We kind of thought maybe it was the military out on exercises and it was a helicopter or something. It's just a little bit to the northeast of where the field is that this base is located. And they just gave us a flat no. They weren't doing anything in that area. There was no testing or anything going on. It was very, very frustrating for me. Nobody had any answers for us.
But then Theli got a call from a team of circle enthusiasts who wanted to examine the odd formation.
At least now somebody's going to listen to us. Somebody wants to know as much as we do about it. When they first came out, all they did was just walk out into the circle and look at it. The researcher said to me, "Do you know what you have here?" I said, "Yeah, a big mess." He said, "No, you have the real thing." When I asked him how he knew, he showed me. So he bent down and he showed me the damage that was done to the crop, and he said, "It's all here." And that's how we can tell that it's the real thing, is by the crop and what's been done to it. They thought that there was some type of energy that caused it, but they weren't sure what type it was. They did some other tests, and they said, "We'd like to take some samples and have them sent to the lab."
Biophysicist W.C. Levengood examines crop circle plants.
A lot of my early research in biophysics involved seeds and germination and criteria that affect germination.
Levengood first learned about crop circles in the early 1990s.
I was curious to know if anything had happened, changes within the plant. I thought somebody ought to look into this.
Levengood began collecting plant samples from crop circles.
I've examined well over 300 crop formations throughout the world.
Levengood's inquiry focuses on one question. Is there a difference between the crops from inside and outside the strange formations? He starts with the plant nodes found along the stem.
They're like little valves. They control the moisture going up and down the plant. These samples were taken out in Garnett, Kansas. These are the controls, and this is 400 feet from the formation, and the plants are straight, and there's very little bending in the nodes.
Then he turns to the plant nodes from inside the crop circle.
This is 25 feet from the center of the formation. You see there's some bending. And then when you get to the center, the plants are really bent at a very significant angle here.
And plants from within the center of the crop circle have nodes that appear to have exploded.
Living things don't blow themselves up and burst. It's something that causes the node to expand like a balloon and burst. These have been exposed to a very transient, very intense energy. The heating here can't be caused by ordinary heating or flames that we know from the outside. You'd see all this scorching and burning, and there's no indication of this. And so it has to be coming from an internal heating. I don't know what the hell else would cause it to expand.
Levengood examines plant nodes from the crop circle found on Felly Whitman's farm.
I looked at approximately 100 plants from the formation. This was the first crop that I've looked at, of all that I've looked at, that the expulsion cavities occurred on all the nodes of the plant, up and down.
Levengood claims the nodes are damaged.
They were all inside the formation. There were none in the controls. There's something going on here that we don't understand.
Not everyone buys Levengood's findings.
Levengood suggests that within a genuine crop circle, there may be swollen nodes or something in the wheat, suggesting they've been zapped by something. Dr. Levengood got caught up with a delicious idea of crop circles being something quite mystical.
The Journal for Scientific Exploration published a report that exposed serious flaws in Levengood's methods and conclusions. It found no apparent basis for Levengood's claims of unusual heating and no evidence to suggest the crops weren't mechanically flattened. Other skeptics point out that until at least one paranormal crop circle has been confirmed, we won't know what a so-called real one even looks like.
This is a type of damage to the plant that I haven't seen before and I don't believe is very common.
Steve Van Nocker is an associate professor with the horticulture department at Michigan State University. He has a PhD in cell and molecular biology.
I presented as a challenge to my undergraduate students to try to replicate this damage, any means that they could come up with on a large scale.
The students don't buy Levengood's theory that the nodes have been heated. They believe the damage is a result of hoaxers simply stomping on the plants.
We're out here making our own crop circles with boards and strings. We have 4 of us today, and we're gonna make them in different shapes. We went online and saw some ideas from other people. It didn't look too hard. It just was all about, how to bend wheat. We're doing this to see if there's going to be any elongation in the nodes, any damage, any explosions inside the nodes that we can see from an eye's view. We expect to go back after we're done with the circle and see these results right away.
The students study the plant nodes.
Nope. This is all looking pretty normal.
Like they're all perfect. Like the regular ones out on the edge. We see that the nodes from the wheat plants are actually undamaged. We couldn't blow the nodes. There was no elongation.
As a scientist, we simply make hypotheses and test them. And in this case, we hypothesized that several different mechanical methods could cause this type of damage, and the end result was that we were unable to replicate the damage.
But Van Nocker doesn't think this proves something paranormal is at play.
Perhaps with more time, perhaps with more experiments, different methods, perhaps with a different type of crop, they would have been able to simulate this type of damage.
Since we didn't get the results that we wanted from the experiment that we did out here, we're gonna have to go to the lab and try other experiments to get the results that we need.
Molecular biology student Rachelle Thompson is part of Van Nocker's team.
What could be going on with these plants? What could be causing this damage that we see? Well, one thing that we thought about was energy. Well, what's the most universal type of energy that we think of? It's, you know, microwaves. We use it all the time. It's readily available to anybody who wants to use it. You know, a typical household microwave. So we thought maybe if you cook them from the inside out, such as with microwaves, you could cause the water in those nodes to instantly turn to steam, thus causing the node to basically blow out. We microwave that for varying amounts of time.
Thompson tries repeatedly to replicate the damage Levengood says he discovered in crop circle plants.
I was not able to produce any sort of blowout from just pure microwaving in a microwave oven, unfortunately. I did this experiment dozens of times. All that really happened is the water in the plant basically evaporated, and it just seemed to dry out the plant.
Different plants or different conditions could have changed the results.
It would be easier to maybe replicate another type of crop, say corn or something, where there is a lot more water involved in those crops. I think that there's a lot of experimentation that still could be done. I mean, there's always other options.
To my knowledge, no one has replicated the findings of Dr. Levengood. I'm not a scientist. I would just say that there are other possible explanations for swollen nodes. If you compressed an area of swirled circle, and overnight the dew comes in the morning and it moistens it, and the hot sun comes out and just absolutely pours down upon it, creating a kind of steam from within, maybe that has some effect. Or any of a number of other possibilities. I have not done those experiments. When this information is properly published in peer-reviewed journals and reviewed and replicated by scientists, we might have something. And until then, I think we don't.
Charles Mallett believes something that cannot be replicated with lab experiments could be responsible for the crop circles.
There has been consistent reports of UFO sightings in conjunction with the appearance of crop circles, which goes back many, many decades, right up to the modern times. I consider myself a rational, level-headed individual that looks for the facts, the figures, the evidence. But what I've seen and experienced is something much stranger than I could actually ever measure.
One of those experiences was in 1999, when Mallett visited a crop circle hotspot in Wiltshire called Milk Hill.
Milk Hill is effectively an internationally known location, principally because it has a white horse chalk figure carved into the hill several hundred years ago.
Mallett finds a crop circle etched into a field of canola.
It kind of looked like one of these old-fashioned telephone dialers, and I think it actually got nicknamed for telephone. That night I went back to sleep in the circle just before dark. It gets up to around about midnight. All of a sudden, something really strange, tangible happened in the environment in my immediate area. One moment, I could hear everything around me. The next moment, I could hear nothing apart from my immediate space, which was like a highly charged electrical feeling space. I literally just looked up. Pretty much in the same moment, a small orb of light appears just several meters in front of me behind a standing clump of crop. And over the course of a few seconds, it literally comes out and out to about 2 feet or so in diameter. Just hangs there, orange, glowing, sat there kind of like mystified. And as I'm looking, this large orb, or whatever it actually is, just compresses down to its original size and then more or less just pops out of existence. And it was like, what on earth was that? So that was really strange. That was some kind of real experience, whether I can explain it or not. I knew that that wasn't a dream. It was real.
Mallet is not the only one to report seeing strange lights hovering around crop circles. Thelly Whitman recalls seeing mysterious lights around her field in Canada.
We were coming home from town quite late. It was probably about 11 o'clock. And my husband said, "What's that light over there?" And I said, "Where?" He said, "Is that an airplane? It's awfully big." And it was just one massive light. It wasn't an airplane because you couldn't hear it. It was just white and moving quite quickly. Don't know what it was, don't know if it had anything to do with that circle, but it sure seemed strange.
Some people report seeing more than mysterious lights over crop circles. They've seen flying objects. Stephen Alexander is a crop circle photographer who filmed a famous formation from this spot in 1990.
You're in the heart of the English countryside. This is where it all happens. It's the highest point in Wiltshire. For shooting video, you're going to get a good sort of panoramic shot.
And here we are back at the old configuration again.
It was about 4:30 in the afternoon, and all of a sudden I saw this glint, this flash, out of the corner of my eye. This object was in view, and I wasn't sure what it was. This was really something strange. Almost as if there was something there that shouldn't be there. Something bizarre. See, I thought, what the heck's this?
That little thing running around.
What is it?
I don't know.
We tried to explain it, you know, not jump to conclusions.
It's a bird.
What, a shiny bird?
It was quite clear that this object, you know, was something unusual. The camera was working normally, then during the sighting, it got a horrible green. I thought, was that an effect of the object? It's not sort of blowing with the wind, it's purposeful. It's making up its own mind where it's going.
Quick. It's moving really fast.
You can see this object just fly over the top of the tractor driver.
Tractor stop.
I thought, he's got to have seen this, but he didn't get out. He just seemed to like stay in his tractor and then just carried on.
Where's it gone?
Look, going up in the sky.
It goes up, it disappears, and then it was gone. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. I thought it was important to tell people what I'd seen and to get the video out to show people this strange ball of light, this UFO. Because the connection, I thought, was very close with the crop circles and could be the source of the crop circles.
When it comes to UFOs, skeptics have a more plausible explanation.
UFOs are reported all the time, everywhere. Misperceived lights, meteors, airplanes, secret airplanes, hoaxes, any of 1,000 things that can be in the sky and create UFOs.
Even though Stephen Alexander is unsure as to exactly what he filmed flying over the field, he releases the video to the world.
People said, oh, he must have faked it because basically UFOs don't exist. And I think it's because of their comfort zone that they're quite happy to have this footage explained as something mundane rather than something either paranormal or something we don't understand. I know what I saw. I stand by it, even up to this day.
People have been known to make hoax crop circle videos. If Alexander's video is fake, Ashley Windsor would know it.
I've worked within the field of imaging for over 35 years.
Working out of a private lab at his home, Ashley Windsor is one of the top forensic video analysts in the UK.
You treat every bit of video footage as something that's telling a story, and the basics of what I have to do is to ensure that the correct story is told.
Alexander brings his footage to Windsor for analysis.
Very pleased to meet you. Good to see you. Heard a lot about this tape. I'm glad you were looking at this at last because it's about time it was analysed properly.
I will get to the bottom of this. I will sort this out once and for all. The first thing you look for is, has this cassette been opened and the tape changed for something else? Well, there's no evidence of the screws being loosened or any of the cassette itself having come apart. And this is a little bit of stretch on it, as I would expect. So physically, it looks like this is as it should be.
Windsor runs a series of tests on Alexander's video.
You're looking for subtle changes and sudden changes or a sudden increase in something in an area within the image.
And after 2 hours, he's made a conclusion.
I'm satisfied that this is an original recording and this object exists within the imagery, hasn't been added later, and now we have to find out what the object is. I would say that the size is similar to the width of a single tractor mark through the field. The shape of it would lead me to believe that it's not a ball. This is because the amount of reflected light you get back from it varies quite dramatically as it moves around. So it's more disc shape, or its behavior is more disc shape than it is a sphere shape. I've had a good look at this, and I've come to my conclusions, and I've actually tested some of them out. This is an original and a true record of what you saw in the field on that day, but I don't know what it is. It's a genuine UFO, unidentified flying object. You can't tell from the footage what it is. I'm not saying it's alien, I'm not saying it's terrestrial. I'm just saying it's unidentified and it's flying. I don't know what it is.
Many who have seen the video believe it's a bird or simply trash blowing in the wind. Others believe it could be some sort of small spy aircraft. According to Windsor, the location of the sighting is near secretive facilities, which could support this claim.
that it's very close to military testing and proving grounds. Also in the area, you have one of the largest research aviation facilities in the UK. This area has seen a lot of activity. I think a lot of it could have been man-made. A lot of lights in the sky at night could be man-made. But there's an awful lot of military, and with the military goes research. And there are a number of research projects that will be carried out close to that area.
Claims of unexplained lights and electrical equipment breakdown. Enthusiasts believe these are mysteries linked to the crop circle phenomenon.
I'm getting some distortion in the camera. It's not focusing properly. Look at that. It's blurring in and out. It's never done this before.
Camera's just failing, battery is dying. There's something, it seems, messing with electrical equipment. Things happening that just cannot be readily understood.
My GPS has just gone wrong, basically, and the screen has gone...
Look at this, the screen sort of pixelation. I want to get
It's like it's
been pushed or something.
This is solid plastic.
It's lost its calibration after it's on the crop circle.
Has it ever done that before?
No.
Crop circle investigators have historically examined this bizarre phenomenon as a series of singular events. But recently, crop circle researchers claim several formations found in the Midwestern area of the United States seem to show a connection to each other. This connection was first revealed in 2003, 112 kilometers east of Cincinnati, Ohio.
It's the edge of Appalachians. I have lived here off and on my entire life. I got up that morning getting ready to do some school shopping with my daughters and my mother. And as we come across the bridge, I looked down the creek and I panned back towards the road, and my vision went over the field, and bam, there's a crop circle. I'd never seen a crop circle before.
5 days later, Delcy returned to the formation, this time with a group of people who examine crop circles.
So when we get word of a crop circle, we try to visit and evaluate it from a scientific standpoint.
For the last 15 years, Jeff Wilson has led a team that examines crop circles, the Independent Crop Circle Research Association.
We will look for footprints, we'll look for broken stalks, we'll look for mechanical damage made by a board or a garden roller. We will run a series of tests to discern the difference between one that's man-made and one that's not.
The first test is simply taking an aerial photo to look for points of entry. 3 trails were made by Wilson's team and a farmer.
So we could account for all of those various pathways. There are also sprayer lines made by farm equipment that go up and down through the field to spray the plants. Those can be access points that people can walk up and down without leaving tracks. But in this particular crop circle, right in the center of it, was a single circle that there were no pathways that led to it. And we measured out the distance from any of the known access points, and it was 17 feet.
Jeff wonders how anyone could get to this circle without leaving any tracks behind.
The only way to get into that particular crop circle was either had a helicopter way in or parachute in, but you have to have some visible aerial support to get yourself out, because there are no tracks going in or out.
Critics say the waist-high crops would conceal the tracks. But Wilson's even bigger claim is yet to come.
The Locust Grove, Ohio formation was actually part of a much bigger breakthrough in our understanding of the nature of crop circles. One of the things that we do when we collect the basic information about crop circles is we'll map them out using mapping programs.
When Wilson maps the Locust Grove crop formation, he finds a connection to other crop circles.
Four crop circles altogether that stretched out over a 60-mile distance. They were all in a straight line across the landscape.
Intrigued by the coincidence, Wilson looks deeper into the idea that these circles are linked geographically.
We've been able to map with good location accuracy about 160 crop circles from the United States. It turns out that every one of the crop circles that I mapped that we consider to be not man-made, that had some straight line geometric component to them, they all point to some other crop circle in the landscape.
According to Wilson, one of the formations has straight line components that point directly to the center of 9 different crop circles.
This is an order of magnitude of stunning discovery that people have really not realized about crop circles previously.
Wilson believes this suggests that crop circles are not singular events, rather part of a series. The best way to test this theory? From the air.
We start to fly our theoretical line that we drew on a map using GPS, and Delsey sees a crop circle. We continue flying the line, and I spot another crop circle formation. So we've just found 2 unreported crop circles. Overall, we found 7 crop circle formations that covered about 160 to 180 miles, crossing over 2 states. We don't really understand why crop circles would align to one another. And over both time and space, it's hard to understand what would cause something like that to occur.
Critics say that even if some circles do line up, it doesn't prove they aren't man-made.
Crop circles are a relatively new phenomenon, and the story of it elaborating is continuing today. Most complex, elaborate crop circles can be made by human beings, and it remains to be seen if anything else ever can make them, other than bright, intelligent, determined, clever human beings.
I can understand why people would not accept the reality of something like this. A lot of people just can't handle or accept that there may be, just maybe, something else going on in this world. The bottom line is, to me, after my experiences in this subject, that there is something profound and important and quite big happening here.
It's not black and white, and that's what frustrates people, is they can't pigeonhole this phenomenon. They can't explain it. There's still mystery.
I kind of believe that, in my heart, that it's another life form. We're looking into other people's worlds, and maybe other beings are looking into ours. I think someday there'll be an answer to it. I really do.
Because human beings are perpetually stubborn and will believe something in the face of powerful evidence to the contrary. You look at the broad picture, there are a number of factors that address this phenomenon and reveal that human hoaxing, or secret human art making, if you will, is at work.